What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. It's time for a recap of what went down on Teen Mom 2 Season 10 Reunion Special Part 2. Again, a little reminder, I'm going to be recapping Season 1, Episode 5 of Teen Mom 2 from Netflix today at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for my channel members. So if you want to join in on that live stream chat, make sure to hit the join button down below and tune on in. So let's get into this recap. Roxanne replaced Briana on the couch as Briana threw a tantrum in her room about the disparity between her income and Devoin's income, and Roxanne says that Briana helps her, being Roxanne, and her sister Brittany as well financially. And on the one hand, I was really upset to hear that, because I hate when one person in the family makes a lot of money and then their parents and the other people in the family expect them to financially care for them. I feel like that's a really toxic dynamic to have. But on the other hand, I'm kind of well, Roxanne and Brittany are kind of second mothers to Briana's kids at the same time, so maybe there is a little bit of a trade-off there. I'm really curious about you guys' opinions on their dynamics, both in terms of financial contributions in addition to emotional contributions, because that does count for something as well. Devoin, by the way, is on the couch and he calls MTV his second job, but Roxanne says no, MTV is not your second job, it is pocket money. I don't know how I felt about that, you guys. I felt like she was downplaying the income that MTV provides. Sure, Briana's not making the $400,000, $600,000 that the other girls are making, but she is making a good amount of money that she could buy a house over $200,000 in cash, buy her boyfriend what is it, an AR-15 or something like that, all of these other things that she is constantly buying, the designer stuff. So it is money. And then Roxanne also claims that Briana has 3 or 4 other jobs outside of MTV, but I'm really curious about what it is that she classifies a job as being, right? Because let's say, for example, you've got a full-time job that is 40 hours in a week. So, how can you have 3 or 4 of those? Is she considering being a social media influencer a job? Is she considering, I don't know, because there are only so many hours in the week, especially when you've got children to care for, right? Now, Devoin says that Briana gets paid to talk crap about him and that he gets no credit for what it is that he does as Nova's father. I thought that Dr. Drew and Roxanne taking the time to make him feel respected as Nova's dad was great. You do have to pick and choose your battles, and if this is something that someone desperately needs to hear to do better as a co-parent or whatever, then why not give it to them? It's free, right, at the end of the day. But I'm also curious, it's kind of okay, dude, do you really want to be praised for doing the bare minimum? You're supposed to be doing all of these things because this is your daughter at the end of the day. I really like when Roxanne said that she would like for Devoin to work harder to put himself in a position to make more money. Whether that is going back to school so that he can become a chef versus a cook, whether it is having a food truck or something, that's what they want. They're okay, yes, at this level, you are doing the best that you can, but give yourself the tools to put yourself on a level to make even more money. And so I hope that resonated with him. And actually, I think it did, because he recently announced that he wanted to start his own food truck, and that was one of the things that Roxanne had suggested. Now, Briana returns, and she brings up the designer things that Devoin has while crying broke, and I am 1,000% on the same page with her here. It's just not a good look. It is annoying. It would piss me off as well. Apparently, Devoin doesn't pay attention to Nova whenever she is at his house. Briana says that Nova tells her that Devoin only plays video games while she's there. She doesn't take her to dinner, the park, or even help with homework. And to me, I feel like this is quite low when you go and expose your child in front of the other parent, especially on television, and later she actually gets really, really nasty when she says that now that Nova's getting older, she's starting to realize what a crappy dad Devoin is. And I'm girl, you don't need to take things to that level. That is just way too damn much, in my opinion. Briana also says that she is just as mad at Lewis as she is at Devoin, but because Lewis doesn't really film the show, you don't get to see that, so it appears as though she is only mad at Devoin. But I am calling BS on this. Lewis has filmed on several occasions. It might not be as regularly as Devoin, but he has filmed on several occasions, and each time she has treated him completely differently from the way that she has treated Devoin. For example, she paid this man to attend his own daughter's birthday party, right? She's I'll give you the money. Are you gonna come to her birthday? This guy comes. What does he bring for his child? Nothing. Devoin came to the party. He did not need to be paid to come to the party. And what did he bring? A large gift for Briana's daughter, you know? And then there was another time when this season when Briana was begging Lewis for the D outside of the club. And she's like, you know, you don't even have to worry about paying child support. I just want you to be in her life and to see her. She's never said anything like that to Devoin. Devoin's been in Nova's life and seeing her. So I'm not quite buying it. And not only that, but after he gives her an STD and still does not see the daughter really, Briana bangs him again and does not hound him the way that she's been hounding Devoin. So spare me with that, okay? Next up, we get Kailyn Lowry claiming to regret putting Javi and Lauren's relationship on blast over the years, but it all seems like BS. She even actually smirks as the Wawa parking lot scene replays. And then she talks about being surprised that Chris actually showed up to Creed's birth. She said that, listen, there's some things in place that make it so that they should not be in each other's presence. I don't remember her saying the word legally, but she was obviously alluding to the PFAs that they've got against each other. So she said that's why she was, you know, she didn't think that he would actually come because, you know, maybe it was a sting or something, y'all, I don't know. We then talk about his aunt exposing the pregnancy being super hurtful to Kail because that aunt was the one that Kail was closest to. She was the one that Kail used to have to text in order to get through to Chris. We saw her on prior seasons, a photo of her and Kail at the gym popped up. Remember that scene where Kail was asking her about Chris and, like, you know, just not really being into her or something. So I get it. Like, I really felt for Kail here because, you know, pregnancy is a very delicate thing. Anything could have happened with the pregnancy, including, you know, losing the baby. Kail mentioned, you know, potentially wanting to abort the baby, just other stuff. So it really was not fair of the aunt to put her on blast like that because she really pigeonholed her into having to, you know, face whatever decision or whatever might have happened publicly, even though she might not have been ready to. The next step, we get a really long advertisement for Kail's podcast, and I'm sorry, you guys, every time Kail launches a project, and this is nothing against Kail, I actually love this about her, like she's like a hustler, like she's always got some kind of business, some kind of project on the go, but it was just such like a huge advertisement for that podcast that she runs with V. You know, it's like we only saw them do the podcast for like 1 minute on one episode out of, like, you know, 14 episodes, and yet it gets like this huge segment, but we're not digging into why this chick has a second baby by someone who was already a deadbeat to the other. You know what I mean? It's like, hold these people accountable for the decisions that they make instead of, you know, skirting the actual issue. This is why I don't like Teen Mom reunions, because they never really dig into the things that actually matter, in my opinion. You know, like, how does that not come up from Dr. Drew? You know, you're doing that advertisement after every episode. It's yoursexlife.org, unplanned pregnancies, you know, make better choices. They're promising every year, and then every year they end up in the same trash ass situations, and we're gonna ignore it and talk about a damn podcast? Really? By the way, you know, I listen to the podcast and I quite enjoy it and I recap it for you guys, but did anyone else get the vibe that V doesn't actually like Kail? Because when she sat there, first of all, she was sitting away from Kail and she looked angry, like she was sent to the principal's office. I don't know if she's just not comfortable being on the cameras in that kind of setting. Maybe something happened that day in particular, I don't know, but the vibe was all the way off. And now in the last scene, let's get into Cole. Guys, I am maintaining my stance that there is something off about Covert Cole because, you know, this last scene kind of confirmed it for me. To me, there's a little bit of a smugness to him that we're gonna get into. The only real tea we got from Chelsea's segment was that Grandma Donna, like, still texts Aubree regularly. Duh. And then Covert Cole joins us on screen, and for some reason, to me, I just got this like vibe from him that he was so smug about Chelsea finally quitting the show. I don't know what it is, but Dr. Drew asked him why he doesn't want Adam to have those lunchtime visits with Aubree, and he claims that he doesn't want to see Aubree get hurt, and so he wants Adam to visit her in a different kind of a way. And I'm wondering, you know, first of all, that's a direct contradiction of what it was that he said throughout the season. Each time he said that the problem was that Adam was actually going to these lunchtime visits and that they were too easy for him. So it's not hurtful to Aubree. Aubree is used to seeing her dad on a regular basis. Chelsea confirmed this as well, that Adam rarely misses these lunchtime visits. So at the end of the day, Cole having his way and ending them would hurt Aubree more than just continuing to allow it to be that way. Adam is also supposed to be paying money towards child support to see Aubree at these visitation centers, but he doesn't do that. He only shows up to the lunchtime visits. So that's why Chelsea, as Aubree's mom, has always wanted to maintain them, and I don't understand why Cole wants to get rid of them. And I was annoyed that Dr. Drew did not press him on this issue at all. He let it drop. He didn't even ask Chelsea how she felt about the lunchtime visits, because we already knew how she felt. She wanted Cole to drop this idea of getting rid of them. She's like, no, Aubree's used to them. She likes them. Adam shows up. We're keeping the lunchtime visits. So why did we not get to see them kind of talk through where she was at with it as well, and kind of challenge Cole's assertion and call him out for directly contradicting himself, and even asking him, Cole, how is it hurtful to Aubree that this is the only way she sees her dad? Is it not more hurtful to her to get rid of this and then she just never sees her dad, who she's been seeing on a regular basis now? Anyway, after Dr. Drew and Nessa dropped the ball on this, I stopped watching, because afterwards it was just a montage of Chelsea's time on the show. You guys already know, listen, I feel like this girl overstayed her welcome by at least 2 seasons, maybe 3 seasons. So the montage was just not for me. If it were Farrah's greatest hits or Janelle's greatest hits, I would have been all over it. Because to me, Chelsea's scenes, ever since like things ended for real with Adam, have always been like my opportunity to take a snack break. So sorry, I'm not gonna miss it. I'm actually really looking forward to Ashley Jones joining the cast and giving us the drama that we deserve. Anyway, you guys, that does it. A recap of what went down on part 2 of the Teen Mom 2 season 10 reunion special. And as usual, I'm more excited to hear what you have to say about everything. So please make sure to let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.